All right, happy Friday night, everybody. And I, I've been dealing with these. What I've been doing is whenever I find commonalities, which is quite often, especially more lately now that I've been looking for them, um, I want to come on here and just like share what's going on, and in my world, and hopefully you can find some cool stuff in this and apply it to your own life, and hopefully this is helpful, and if nothing else, maybe you can explore stuff on your own. And so last night I was up at about midnight. It was really tough for me to sleep, and I was just like kind of tossing back and forth, and I decided to get up. So at about midnight, I just got out of bed, came down to my office, and I had this overwhelming idea that I wanted to start a network. I know this sounds so goofy, but like a networking club. So I've been wanting to do this actually for about 15 years, and I've never actually taken action on it. And this name I came up with was like community, right? So community and connection. And I thought this was like a real, I don't know, cute little name. And so I went and bought the .com and was really restless about this. And I started thinking about this, and I was up until about 3 a.m. And I decided, that's kind of a cheesy name. Like it sounds like kind of, I don't know, like small. And so I ended up buying another website called b3d.us. And so I'm not sure where this is gonna go exactly. And I'm not. This video is not about this like networking thing. That's only how I'm like starting this video, because what I'm trying to do and what I've been trying to do for the last several months, probably maybe a couple years, really. I mean, since COVID, actually, I feel like I've had this thing inside me where I just want to like move into something else. So I've been DJing for 20 years now, and a lot of people know me kind of in that world. And I appreciate all the time that I've had on stages and at events, and I am still a working DJ, and I still do amazing events and have amazing clients. So I'm not, this isn't like I'm not like sinking the ship. But I am thinking like long term, right? So I'm 45 now, and what does my life look like when I'm 65? And I'm not going to be like carrying around turntables and going to events. And so, what does that look like? And for a long time, I've thought, okay, I want to like write a book and be in public speaking, and maybe to some capacity that's true. One problem I've had, so I've been taking piano lessons, and I play the piano. I've been pecking around for years, but never like been trained on it. And so now I'm trying to learn how to read music, and it's been like incredibly frustrating. And I was telling Nikki earlier today, I was like, maybe the piano and maybe like writing just like isn't my thing. Maybe it's something like I like the idea of it more so than I like the actual process of getting good at it. And who knows, that could change over time too. And that's kind of like the point that I'm trying to make with this video. So I'm restless until like 3 a.m. and I came up with this B3D, where purpose takes shape. And there's a lot of like nuance and stuff, and I spent several hours with this last night and then all day today thinking about it. But the common theme here is like a 3D um, kind of approach, and I don't have this all sorted out, so I'm not even going to present it yet because it'll just sound like I'm just like wacky. But our life is really driven by why, how, and what, and answering these three seemingly simple questions, but they're not that simple. At least not for me. They haven't been. And um, so, anyways, I'm thinking about that, and I get up. So I go to bed, take a nap for a few hours. because I had to get up this morning and I had an appointment this morning. So when I came back from my appointment, because my appointment was like I woke up and brushed my teeth and hit the road type of appointment. And when I got back, I cracked the Bible open and I ended up on Jeremiah 52. And I've never read this passage before. I have read a bunch of places in Jeremiah. You guys probably know Jeremiah 29:11, and a lot of people do. So this has to do primarily, at least what I know of the book of Jeremiah, has to do with the exile, the Israel in exile. And so Jeremiah 52, this is the very last page, and the page that I open up to. In fact, right on the other side of this, you can see Lamentations right through the white page there. But in verse 31, so it says, on the 25th day of the 12th month, which is Christmas, by the way, of the 37th year of the exile of Judah's king Jehoiachin, King Evil-Merodach of Babylon, in the first year of his reign, pardoned King Jehoiachin of Judah and released him from prison. He spoke kindly to him and set his throne above the thrones of the kings who were with him in Babylon. So remember, this guy has been in prison for one day less than 28 years, right? Or not one day, 6 days, less than 28 years. So let's just say 27.99 years. And he gets out, or the king releases him from jail. And then it says the king spoke kindly to him and set his throne above the thrones of the kings who were with him in Babylon. So I'm assuming these were like maybe past kings, kind of exalted him above other kings of the past. So, and then verse 33, so Jehoiachin changed his prison clothes. Listen to this. This is crazy. And he dined regularly in the presence of the king of Babylon for the rest of his life. As for his allowance, this is just mind-blowing. I'm going to talk about this here in a second. As for his allowance, a regular allowance was given to him by the king of Babylon, a portion for each day until the day of his death for the rest of his life. That's crazy. And we talk about like redemption stories, and it's fun to like watch movies that's like a redemption story, right? But this guy didn't even know this was going to happen. He's literally in jail for 28 years. And then one day the king lets him out of jail. Presumably that's what we get from the text. So I did a little bit more reading. And I did some Googling, and this king, Jehoiachin, or rather, King Evil-Merodach, the king that released King Jehoiachin. This is a lot of weird names, man. Should just say King E and King J. But anyways, the king that released him, there's not even much known about him. So he was Nebuchadnezzar II was the one that appointed this guy to the throne, or like that's how the succession went. But he wasn't even in the royal lineage. So there's very little known about this king. And so think about this. Like these are kind of things that blow my mind like daily. For some strange reason, right? This guy became the king, and for another strange reason, he let the other king out of jail. And then for some other strange reason, now he's taking care of the king, like that he just let out of jail, that's been in jail for 28 years. It doesn't even make sense. Like, and I don't granted, I don't know the whole text of Jeremiah. I'm just reading the very end. But taking this like as what it is, like that's mind blowing to me. And last night, what I was praying is James 1, is asking for wisdom. And I don't know what these like this thing that I want to start it. I don't know exactly what it looks like. And I'm asking for wisdom. And these things start popping up about, why, how, and what. And then I read a story like this when I wake up. And then my dad sends me a text earlier about a daily devotional from Our Daily Bread. And he doesn't do this every day, but he does it sometimes. And it was Isaiah 43, 16 through 21, I think. But I want to focus in on a few verses here. In verse 18 and 19, it says, "Forget former things and don't dwell on the past," which is what God is saying. And if you skip down to 19, "Look, I'm about to start something new. Even now it is coming. Do you not see it? Indeed, I will make a way in the wilderness, rivers in the desert." And do I now, like, let me qualify this for a second. I don't think that this verse was written for me. Like, let's get that straight. This was a verse written specifically to Israel through the prophet Isaiah. However, what this does say to me is that the ways of God and how things work out are not known to us, nor do they seem normal. And when I got all of this stuff together, so these three things, the Jeremiah 52, last night being up till 3 a.m., praying for wisdom and getting this like B3D, where purpose takes shape, and in Our Daily Bread, Isaiah 43, and all three of these things. And I'm just like blown away by this, and I have to like share this with somebody. And I hope that you guys or somebody out there can also have experiences like this. And was thinking about this goofy thing the other day, and I was thinking about steak is made into hamburger, right? And they're both tasty in my mind. I like steaks, I like hamburgers, and so I was thinking this goofy thing while I was driving. I said steak into hamburger, but then what would a mistake turn into? And I was trying to think of like, obviously this is like some kind of like goofy, um, saying type of thing. Steak into hamburger, mistake into, I don't know. So what I did is I asked Gemini what the answer to my riddle was. And I said, steak into hamburger, mistake into what? Or I said, if steak turns into hamburger, then what does a mistake turn into? And what the AI told me is wisdom, that mistakes turn into wisdom. And I thought that was really interesting. And this is the idea of, at least what the AI told me, is the idea of humble pie and extracting wisdom from the mistakes that we've made in the past. And I was thinking about this, and wisdom is bits of everything. If we were to compare the wisdom to a hamburger, and this is just a goofy thing. You guys can do your own thought experiments like this. If wisdom were like hamburger, it's bits of everything, and that's what makes experience tasty. That's all I got. Happy Friday night.